there, my name is Melissa and I'll be guiding our practice today. So for today's session, we'll be focusing on stretching and strengthening the legs, doing some really simple standing postures. And even if you have a traditional yoga practice, go ahead and have a wall or either a chair nearby. We'll be focusing on Warrior 3 in a bit. And instead of trying to work on our balance, we'll be working on alignment and strengthening. Let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start with our mountain pose, pressing down into our feet, maybe checking out the toes, see if we can rotate them forward if that's comfortable for us, grounding down and really lifting up through the rest of the body. So rooting down into the feet, simultaneously lifting up. The palms are rotated forward. Try to let the shoulders go away from the ears. And the pelvis is neutral. So if we have a tendency to shift forward or back, just have it somewhere right in the center. Just taking a few moments and really feel into the posture. Maybe even closing the eyes. Noticing how our weight is distributed in the feet, while we simultaneously extend upward. And so we should feel strong, steady, supported. And really feeling into the posture. The eyes open. And we'll want to maintain the same steadiness as we move through our practice. So let's come into a 5-pointed star. Taking our feet out wide with the toes rotated forward. And just like before, watching our pelvis. So if we notice that it's rocking back or forward, try to have it neutral. Grounding down into our feet, lifting through the legs, extending through the fingertips while the shoulders stay away from the ears. Let's take a few breaths here. Feeling steady, strong, and supported. Noticing if the legs are activated or if they're relaxed. If they're relaxed, again, press down while lifting up through the rest of the body. And so let's move into Warrior 1, facing the right hand side. So we can release the hands, rotate the feet so they're facing the right hand side of the mat. And so as we rotate the feet, the left foot will come out towards the left a little bit. So there could be a line right down the center of our mat and our feet are on separate sides. And so noticing the hips, if this back hip, which for a lot of us will automatically be a little bit back, press the left hip forward so that way the hip points really line up. And then press down into the feet just like our mountain pose, lift up through the torso, bending into the front knee. And so this should feel strong as well. If it feels easy, a few options. Either try to line up the hips a little bit more or take a longer stance. Trying to bend into that front knee closer to a 90-degree angle. And you're welcome to bring the arms up overhead. Try to bring the navel into spine. Grounding down, legs are active as if we were about to jump into the sky. Shoulders away from the ears. A few breaths here. Let the hands come back down. Rotate back into a 5-pointed star. Realigning our feet. Extending through the fingertips. And then let the palms rotate up. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward at the waist. Letting the hands come right in the center of the feet. If you need any blocks or anything to lift the hands up off the floor, you're welcome to do so. You can also take a bend in the knees if you need a little bit more support for your back. So grounding down into our feet, we're still lifting up through the legs, trying to find a little bit of length through the spine. Sensing into the breath. Hands will come towards the hips, lift the torso up, and let's get warrior one on the opposite side. So rotating the hips towards the left-hand side, stepping the right foot out a little bit more towards the right. This back hip, press it forward, line up the hips, root down into the feet, legs are active. And again, this should feel challenging. If not, make it challenging. Take a longer stance. Maybe line up the hips a little bit more, navel into spine. Hands can stay on the hips or extend the arms upward towards the sky. Shoulders are away from the ears, rooting down while lifting up. Rooting down into all four corners of both feet. And release the hands towards the hips. Step the right foot forward about halfway. And so imagining there's that line right down the center of our mat still. Hips are even and legs are straight. Inhale, take both arms up overhead. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Hands can either come down towards the floor, but keep the hips lined up. They can also come down onto your leg. Or if you have a chair, you can place the chair in front of the leg, even off the hips, and fold forward. Pressing the hips back. Legs are straight in a really short stance. So if you find that you can't get the heels pressed down, step the back foot forward a little bit. And as we inhale, lift the torso up. And then we'll rotate back into a five-pointed star. And then this time, go ahead and take the heels in, so that way the feet are at 45 degrees. Bend the elbows, bend the knees, and make sure that our spine is neutral, pelvis is neutral, holding here in our goddess. So we'll take about 5 breaths here. Actively rotating the thighs back. And as you're ready, inhale, lift up. Release the hands and rotate towards the right hand side. So short stance with our feet, and then check out the direction of the feet. So we want the toes facing forward, and it's okay to have a really short stance. Hips even off. Lengthen through the spine, bring the arms up overhead and fold forward. And this time I'll demonstrate with a wall. So the hands can go on top of the wall and you can press the hips back. Of course, you can use your chair. You can bring the hands towards the floor or the legs. Just a few different ways to practice. Noticing how that feels in the backs of the legs. And as you're ready, lifting the torso up. And we'll prepare for Warrior 3. So I'll demonstrate on each side with the wall and the chair. But the reason why we're using the props is so that way we can really focus on the strengthening aspect of the postures. So we'll start facing the wall and fold forward at the waist. We want to create a 90-degree angle with our body as best as we can. Reach the hands either on top of the chair, so that way the hands are right underneath the shoulders, or press the hands into the wall. So rooting down into the right foot, press away from the wall or lengthen through the spine. And as you inhale, lift the left foot up. So once we lift, press out, or press back I should say, and then watch the left hip, just like before. The hips have a tendency to have one rotate out a little bit or rotate back. We want to try to point both hip points down, staying strong through that standing leg, and then lengthen through the body. Release the foot down. Inhale, lift the torso up. Back into our 5-pointed star. So let's take the arms out wide, the legs out wide. Inhale, both arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. And if we can, make a peace sign with both of your fingers, or both of your hands. Grab for the inside of the big toe. Try to bring the chest closer towards the thighs. And if you can't reach for your feet, that's okay. You can just take a bend in the knees. Try to bring belly closer towards the legs. Releasing any tension in the neck and the head. Releasing the toes, hands towards the hips, lift the torso up. Okay, so let's get that on the opposite side, rotating the feet, and either using the wall or the chair. I'll demonstrate with the chair this time. So we can start at that 90-degree angle with our body. If we're using the chair, hands underneath the shoulders, try to lengthen through the spine, rounding down into the standing leg, and then as we inhale, lifting the right foot up. So starting with the hips, if it's rotating out, point the hips down, press through the heel, lengthen through the spine. And just like our mountain pose, we're grounding down into the standing leg, into the foot, lifting through the leg, and then the rest of the body is lengthening, except this time we're just a little horizontal. Release the foot down. Inhale, lifting the torso. And we'll just end in a mountain pose, pressing down into the feet, rotating the palms forward, lengthening through the torso. And let's take a few breaths. Maybe closing the eyes. Letting the eyes open, taking the hands in heart center. Maybe happy, maybe well, maybe at peace, maybe at ease. Thanks for practicing with me today. Namaste.